Hello everyone, I am Crawlers and today I am going to be playing the China Rising DLC and giving out some well-deserved poop that I think, well, you'll see. So, premium players got to play China Rising DLC on December 4th, I believe, and non-premiums players will get it in like a few days. So, if you're a non-premium player, stay tuned to watch my rant. Otherwise, it's going to be just a gigantic waste of your time if you've, already played it. Alright, so let's try to make sense of it all. So, China Rising is the first out of 5, I believe, DLCs for Battlefield 4. It contains 4 new maps, which are Silk Road, Altai Range, Guilin Peaks, and Dragon Pass. 5 new weapons, which are unlocked by assignments, and to see how to unlock them, I'll link a video about it at the end of this one. And it'll also have the 5 guns gameplay there, so you can see how they look and handle. These guns are the MTAR, the MP7, the RPK-74M, the L85A2, without the Donkey Dick SUSAT scope, regrettably, and the L96A1 sniper rifle. Now, the DLC also adds air superiority as the quote new game mode end quote, and 2 quote new end quote vehicles. Now, these are the bomber and the dirt bike. And they also added 2 new gadgets. The SUAV for the Recon class, that's basically a small airplane that flies and laser designates. And the UCAV, which is it's kind of like a self-destructible airburst grenade that either airbursts or contact bursts by flying into people, basically launching out of something that closely resembles a mortar. But the problem with the SUAV, the small airplane for the Recon class, is that it's ridiculously OP, and basically it will roadkill people for days, and the only thing that's limiting it right now is the limited battery charge, or unless someone shoots it down, or if someone takes out the operator of the SUAV while you are controlling it, because obviously when you're controlling it you are standing around like a statue with your pants down, much like in Battlefield 3 where you control the MAV, and you are open to any sort of attack because you're just standing around like an idiot and can't see anything that's going on around you. You'll be able to roadkill just everyone on the team, and it won't even get a scratch. Now, besides this, DICE has put the Dow 12 shotgun with frag rounds into the domination maps as a pickup gun for us to, troll people. And I'm not exactly sure what DICE was smoking when they came up with this, because honestly, the Dow 12 shotgun was supposed to make it into the second assault DLC, and I think as were some other guns from Battlefield 3. But this feels very half-assed, pardon my French, as we already got some of the old guns in the China Rising DLC, which I just listed above. So you can see why this doesn't feel right. 2 separate DLCs, which obviously weren't free to begin with, having half of the old gear. And don't even get me started on the uselessness of the dirt bike. Now, pardon me for being a wet blanket, but I will now tear into the, quote, new things like a dingo into a baby. Now, let's take the new game mode first. Air superiority. Obviously not a new game mode since we already had it in Battlefield 3, and This is just my opinion, but it's much worse than it was in Battlefield 3. There's much more ramming going on. The planes fly faster, making it more difficult to aim. Everyone is obviously using heat seekers, which means, once you run out of flares, they're just going to ram you or the mountain. And the map design is just not very good, particularly for this game mode. So the only reason I can see for anyone to actually play Air Superiority is to kind of level up their stealth jets. Oh, and before I forget, the reflection on the cockpit glass has to be patched. When you're flying over the sands of Silk Road, you just don't know which end is up. Alright, so the other new things they threw at us, the other new thing is the helicopter-only air superiority. Now, this is actually a pretty interesting idea in and of its own, but the implementation is just horrible. I mean, you see, it works on paper, but not in the real world. You see, each helicopter can hold a pilot and a gunner, right? Just as it would in Conquest. But the problems arise when most of the choppers take off with only a pilot. So they have much less of a chance at hitting someone because now they don't have the use of their cannon. And again, once you run out of missiles, you're pretty much screwed because, they take such a goddamn long time to reload. And even if you are flying with a gunner on a public server, there's no real-time communication going on between you two anyway, so again, you don't stand much of a chance against the other guys, So again, this game mode is only useful to those that need to level up the chopper for maybe a week or a few days, and I think after that it'll just fizzle out. Now, next I will take a giant shit on the bomber idea. Again, might seem fine on paper, and it's probably a great idea, but in the game it's just terrible. So, the bomber is this non-player controllable big airplane that's much like the gunship that sort of flies in a straight line that's preset on every map, and the player controls only the dispersal of bombs when he climbs into this remote control beige trailer sort of thing at the flag that controls the bomber. And obviously the team that holds the flag that controls the bomber controls, controls the overflight and will call it in. It will nearly always miss because, nothing ever stays still on the ground and waits for your attack. And what bothered me most about it is the absolutely no feedback when you drop the bombs. I would have expected the plane to shudder a tiny bit, or, you hear that clank as the bombs come off the rails. And if you ever played EO2 or DCS A10, you know what I'm talking about. Now, admittedly, there's a cruise missile to unlock with the bomber, which I haven't done yet, but so far it's not blowing any wind up my skirt. Now, the new maps themselves are pretty cool and very big, reminding me nicely of Armored Kill DLC in Battlefield 3, especially Silk Road, which looks terribly like Bandar Desert. I was going to say Nibandan Flats, but then I remembered it was the wrong DLC. So, shows even I make mistakes. Although not too often. Now, as far as the map design goes, these are just outdoor, big-scale maps with water and huge deserts and rice paddies and nearly no buildings or interior fighting. Now, this actually makes for a couple of intentional decisions as far as the map design goes. First, being a complete fail I think, because on a map designed to work on Frostbite 3 engine, there's just about zero revolution happening. And by just about zero, I mean that there is a couple of IEDs on Silk Road and some bollards that can be raised on other maps, but otherwise, the maps are just terribly boring. And, there's absolutely nothing on them but empty terrain, which I think is what turned people off to Armored Kill in the first place. And also about the big desert map, and I think it's not very well designed. I think the American base is in probably the worst position it could be in. It's in this low-lying valley that basically allows you to be surrounded by tanks on all sides which fire into the American base, so you can't really hide. There's no cover. You just get shelled for days. And it's kind of like that movie Restrepo about the American base, if you've seen it, in Afghanistan. And basically it's kind of the same thing, where the American base was inside the low valley and it's been bordered by mountains on all sides. And, well, basically they got attacked every day because they were in the worst possible, defensive position. They had the low ground, and they were just there for the sake of, just being there to show that they could, reassure the locals, so to speak. So, it's just not a good idea any way you slice it. Now, another strange thing that immediately struck me the first time I played China Rising is the complete lack of any kind of splashers or small, rooster tails when you're going over water. Let's say in a dirt bike or an ATV or something like that. And I mean, it's a small thing, but actually quite shameful if you think about it, especially considering the effects we had on vanilla maps. Might be because the DLC was designed by Soleil, not sure. Which I think was the Danger Close studio that worked on Medal of Honor Warfighter. Or, it might just be a total screw-up that they forgot to put in. Now, another small detail caught my eye when I was going across the river on the small jet ski type thing. Personal watercraft, I think they call it. Well, when I came up to a wooden ramp across a bamboo bridge, instead of me going over the ramp and catching a tiny bit of air and kind of landing on the water on the other side, you know what it did? It smashed right through the bamboo bridge like a tank. Just horrible decisions, for shame, DICE. I mean, that jet ski was just asking for the ramp, to just take off and sort of fly up. And I will also real quickly mention the SUAV for being ridiculously overpowered. I think Probaz went 29-0 with it, with just roadkills of the SUAV. Another stupid decision which I can't believe made it past the beta testers. And I will end this long rant by quickly mentioning EA backpedaling on their statement made a few days ago. I actually made a video a few days ago about an EA rep apparently saying that DICE will stop working on not only the further DLCs for Battlefield 4, but the other big title games like Mirror's Edge 2 and Star Wars Battlefront until Battlefield 4 is fixed. Well, I said in that video that this statement had no real value, to me at least, and was mostly put out there just for show. Well, apparently it scared some EA execs too, and their stock fell because, now they're backpedaling and saying that, in fact, fixing Battlefield 4 will not impact the other AAA titles like Mirror's Edge 2 and Star Wars Battlefront development. So the lesson here is don't believe everything you read, except if I wrote it, of course. Now, I just wanted to clear up some things real quick here, because this video might have seemed like I was kind of raging and hating too much on the China Rising DLC, and maybe rightly so, but I just want to explain why that is, and why some people feel the same way. I just talked to my friend Barricade here, he's a fellow YouTuber, and he said, well, I don't get it why people are hating on the China Rising DLC. The maps are cool, designed pretty nicely, and people should just learn to, accept what they are given. And, well, I feel that the new DLC, it's not up to exactly the same standards that DICE has put forth in the other games. I mean, DICE set the bar with Battlefield 4 vanilla game and the Battlefield 3 even, where they kind of improved on what was before. With, Levolution was supposed to be a very big thing in Battlefield 4, and it's just not present in China Rising DLC, so that's why it seems a little bit like a throwback, like they didn't, put too much thought into it. And so I don't know, I just feel that it's a little bit, it's missing in quite a few places, and, it should have been a lot more. It had a lot more potential here. So thanks for watching. Please rate, share this video, because it helps my channel grow. And remember, in Soviet Russia, YouTube subscribes you.